Hello, and welcome back to Beast Fables, a show where we follow the lives of tiny animals in a massive forest. This is the second part of an interlude between Campaign 1 and Campaign 2 for Beast Fables, the main storyline with Balthazar, Pipistrel, and Lutzen. And I am joined today by three delightful guests. But who am I? I am Brian. I use he, him pronouns, and I am the narrator of Beast Fables. I run Dungeons on a Dime, a publishing imprint that makes role-playing games based in Scotland. I mean, like, the imprint is based in Scotland, but also making a lot of role-playing games that are also based in Scotland. Anyway, this show is delightfully sponsored by Roll20, who let us use their virtual tabletop to do cool things. I can draw on the map. I can do bad doodles of mirrors with my mouse. Look, it's shiny. I'm doing streak lines on it, so it's shiny. Look, it's great. I can draw a cat. Here is a cat. Ooh, that eye is wonky.
It's beautiful.
So
Ta-da!
sorry.
Wait. Okay, it's eyeliner. It's on purpose now. I feel like that's the cat that would say ho ho ho. It's the energy I have from that cat. Yes, Roll20 is great. You can use all of these tools for free on their website, and you can also get the character sheets and the cool things that we use in other games. It's amazing and great and lovely and stuff. I am joined today by three wonderful guests, Eve, Letty, and Leo, who will quickly reintroduce themselves in that order. Eve, do you want to kick us off?
Yes, I am Eve, Eve Greenwood. My pronouns are they, he, and I make the comic Inhibit and also run Quincy Press, which is a comics publisher in Scotland. And I am playing Teredwin, the bat head cleaner of this castle that we're in.
Beautiful. Next up, we have got Letty, who is playing Osier.
Yep, hi, I'm Letty. I use she and they pronouns, and I'm a comic artist and illustrator. I do quite a lot of work for RPGs such as Wonder Home, which I did all the interior art for, and that's out soon, I think, in print. And a bunch of comics, which you can find on my Twitter at Toadlet. And yeah, I'm playing Osier, who is an archivist, local historian, little bittern. So like a long, pointy sort of a bird.
Mm-hmm. A bit like a heron, but as I think you said last time, beautifully,
Yeah.
It's littler and browner.
Exactly, yeah.
And last but not least, we have got Leo. Also, I'm loving the alliteration there.
Yeah. Hello, I'm Leo. I use he, they pronouns, and I go by Cruve on social media. I am an illustrator and comic artist who likes to draw TTRPGs things. I make a lot of OCs. And today I am playing Oswald Fleetfoot, the stable ferret, who is causing a lot of chaos at the moment and eating a lot of biscuits.
Eating a lot of biscuits. You are actually kind of full. Got that slight stomachache ache where you've eaten a lot of good food and you're like, that was great. I don't feel great. I should eat more.
Yeah.
So, I'm going to take us over to the overhead map of the Isle of Shallot, where our story takes place. Last session, we followed a thief, a cleaner, and a scholar as they moved around the Isle of Shallot. Tensions seemed to be rising. Animals getting angry at Lord Clare, who runs and is the steward of this island with his mates and the other occupants of the castle. They make sure that the tides are collected, the bridges are maintained, and some animals didn't seem too happy about recent changes. Worse yet, compounded pressures from a long, dry summer and from the Boer War and the outcome of that have left a lot of the animals in the surrounding areas hungry. And with the accusation of a break-in now falling on local residents, distressed cats, distressed animals, tensions are high. Lord Clare is addressing a crowd of animals at the front of his castle. So the circle of the crowd of animals, the cross is Lord Clare. And I'm making sure, yeah, we all on the map. The sun has set and night has fallen around the island. What are you three up to?
Caradwyn is still searching high and low, like absolutely panicked at this point because night has fallen and it's going to be even harder to go out and see if the wee kitten master is out hiding anywhere outside. I think at this point he's alerted, the guards to the fact that Amira is missing. So it's not just him looking, because this is a much more serious matter at this point. But I think because the Lord is outside with a gaggle of very upset animals, that's more their concern right now, rather than, a lost kitten who's been known to probably scamper off at times.
Yeah, he's known to sort of slink off and hide in bushes and get distracted by butterflies and things like that, and not really pay attention to the time. So you're sure he's fine somewhere, just not where you can see him, which is not great. Ozia, what are you up to?
I think when Ozia got back to the library and found it like even more of a mess than it was before, he was just like lost a lot of time kind of just trying to put it right and kind of obsessively trying to make it at least a semblance of tidy, and looks up and realizes that, actually it's got quite late and he's not eaten or anything, so he'll probably go down and see if he can find something to eat and get a bit of a break. Okay.
And Oswald, what have you been doing?
He's been eating a lot of food, probably a bit more than he probably should have. And I think that he will go and try find the door that belongs to this key that he has.
Okay. So I feel like we'll start with Oswald and Ozia. You sort of bump into each other on the stairs. Oswald, you're going up from the kitchen to see if you can find where this key fits, and Ozia, you're going down towards the kitchen to find something to eat. That's where the scene starts. You bump into each other.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, terribly sorry. I didn't. Are you all right?
Oh yeah, I'm fine. You're alright. You seem a bit head in the clouds.
Yeah, just a very long, not at all productive day. I'm sure you don't need to hear about it. Just, yeah. It's impossible to get any work done around here. Because some people just, yeah. I've not seen you before, have I?
Probably not. No, I'm new here.
Oh, right. Well, nice to meet you. I'm Ozia. I'm here. I'm doing some studying in the archives. So yes, it makes sense. We've not seen each other.
Yeah, that sounds very interesting, and I'd love to hear more about it over a drink or something sometime.
It is very fascinating. Yes, I've been looking into the weather patterns over the past years, trying to shed some light and get us some real data on all these droughts and things, and really beef up our local history. It's really fascinating. Yes, I'd love to tell you more about it.
Oh, I'd love to hear it. Have you been here for a while?
A month or so. Not terribly long. Certainly not long enough to get anything done around here.
Oh, I know what that's like. He pulls out the key and he's like, I found this. Do you know where this might lead to?
Oh, and Ozia kind of cranes his big long neck to peer at it with a big round eye, and kind of peers at it and goes, I mean, presumably a door. It looks like a door key to me in my estimation. So I
don't recognize the sort of door that it would unlock. You don't recognize it.
Okay, cool. Yes. Have you not handed into perhaps one of the lairds would probably know? I mean, you could always just pass it on up to them. I'm sure they'd be able to tell you.
Yeah, I'll go hand it into them now. I just found it down there at the bottom of the stairs.
Oh, well, I think I was looking out the window. I think they're actually downstairs dealing with the crowds.
Crowds?
And I think at this point you go up a couple steps and look out maybe the lowest window that does sort of overlook onto the courtyard, and you see that all of the guards are assembled there, and they're sort of not corralling, but they are definitely keeping a bit of distance between the animals and the Lord Clare. Edna is with him as well, and everyone is kind of lit by torchlight, some on the walls, some held by the guards, and some held by the animals out front, who are a collection of hedgehogs and mice. There's a rat. There is, there's a few hares among them. There is some newts. A real mix of creatures.
Do I recognize that all the guards are outside?
Yes. Except for the hare and the hedgehog. Barkley and the hedgehog's name you hadn't caught. They're not there.
Perfect time to go rummaging. He's like, this place is so easy. And he's gonna go around doors and try unlock any that he sees.
Mm-hmm. You go around these doors. Ozzy, are you following this guard?
I think Ozzy, looks out the window and goes, "Oh, all the guards are out there, and it seems like something quite big is going on. So why is this?" And looks back and realizes that they're already up the stairs, and so kind of not really wanting to intervene, but a little bit kind of wants to kind of slip up and try and follow them, but very kind of discreetly, but not really trying to sneak, just sort of awkwardly tailing after them without really wanting to be seen or make a fuss.
Okay. So you tail behind. I want you to make a scurry roll for me.
Okay.
So that's going to be a D10, unless you want to try and tag something.
I don't know that anything. What have I got? I do have natural camouflage as one of my traits. I don't know how well I'd camouflage in the halls, unless they're all kind of reed-coloured. I
don't really think that would work in this situation.
Cool. No, then I'll just do a straight roll, I think. And it was a D10, right?
Yes.
Cool. Just checking. Oops.
So that's an 8, a success. Oswald, you have the sneaking suspicion that you're being watched, but every time you look over your shoulder, there's no one there. This castle's giving you the creeps. But you go ahead and you start to rattle the key in different doors, and I'm going to take us over to the castle map now. So you're on the first floor, you try the library, it doesn't unlock the door even though it's open or, affect the lock. You try the spinners, the door is still locked from earlier, nothing happens there. You go over to the noon messengers, the door is open and there is a lizard inside who is kind of half asleep at the desk with a candle burnt low and guttering on their desk. The shelves are full of little pigeonholes with parcels in them.
He would just keep looking.
You kind of gently close the door to the noon messengers. You try the key in all of the different doors. For the large suites, they don't fit. You go up the spiral staircase, and you find that it unlocks one of the small rooms in the small suites. It is this room. I'm going to mark with a little purple cross. It's clear. It's laid out, just open. It seems to just be a dormitory. Yeah.
Well, that was disappointing. Is there anything interesting in the dormitory?
You search around, and there's a metal night pot under the bed, and there's some scratchy blankets. It's nice enough, but you don't really think it's of value, anything really in this room.
Well, that sucked. Bit of an anticlimax, that.
Actually, I'll say, as you're going over the room, you actually find that there's a little letter that says, "To Crux," and it's a welcome letter from Edna.
You'll pocket it.
You take the letter, sure. As you walk out, you notice to your right there is essentially like a little staircase of a few steps, and then sort of like a little arched hole in the wall where like a bird could fly in and out of this floor. You kind of curiosity kind of just glance, and you notice a strange sight. You kind of look out and you see on the tree opposite, quickly disappears into the tree brush. Is that a magpie? It's pretty big. It was like a black and white crow. Yeah, it's probably a magpie.
He goes, oi, oi.
You whisper out of the window, and there's no response.
You know, I can see you. You're not exactly sly, mate.
There is a rustling in the trees, and then the trees are mostly, aside from a gentle breeze, still.
He'll ignore it and head off. He's like, eh.
So you head down. Where'd you head?
He might go back to the library.
Mm-hmm.
To check on
go
the
back to
things
the library.
that he hid.
I'm gonna say you check the books, and because they were mostly put back where they should be, aside from sticking out a bit, they wouldn't have been shifted by Ivor or Osea. So you find the stuff that you've stolen, and I think at this point, Osea, you realise that the guard has got a bunch of stolen stuff behind some books.
Oh no. Oh no, I'm gonna have to report this. Oh no. Yeah, Ogier is kind of dithering and desperately trying to decide whether they should raise the alarm or try and confront this person, and the thought of that is terrifying. So they kind of look up and down the corridor, like, is there somebody else that somebody else can do this? Is Ivor still asleep in the library, or have they gone away?
You think that Ivor's gone back to where he roosts in the castle to sleep. He's quite an old bird.
Yeah, I think he's gonna, because he's scared that if he goes away, then they'll like just run off. So he kind of puffs himself up as big as he possibly can and steps in and goes, "Excuse me, what are you doing among the papers? Are those things yours?"
This thing. And he pulls out the little jacket thing or the robe.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, this is
It's like a monogrammed bathrobe that says Edna on it.
That's yours. Why was it behind the books? Can I ask?
Because I didn't want to put my stuff in the guard dorms because they're all stinky, and then I didn't want to get my lovely monogrammed robe all gross.
I think the library is hardly the place. You're sure that is yours?
Absolutely. You start like smelling something a bit smelly, like cheese.
Oh. And I mean, I'm really not sure. Like, it's really not. This just doesn't seem right. Are you? I think I might have to report this just to someone, if that's all right.
No, you see, the thing is, right, okay.
Mm-hmm.
This is my stuff, 100%. But if there's an issue, maybe it's your stuff. I mean, I did find it in the library, right?
I mean, I'm not sure. I'm not sure if that robe would really suit me.
I think you look great in it personally.
I'm really not sure. I wouldn't want to get wrapped up in all of this. It's really, it's just your robe. Like, why the library of all places? Was it you who made this? I thought it was just either like making more of a mess than usual. But was it you who just drew all my notes everywhere? Like, I spent all day tidying this up.
What? No, I saw that sleeping guy just wake up and just throw shit around and go, ah! That little bird. Fuck him. I'm going to make their life hell. That's what he said.
He did?
I was honestly shocked. I was like, whoa, dude, calm down. Can I store my stuff in here? And he went, yeah, of course.
Ivar did that?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
And yeah, God, the things he was saying shocked someone. She washed his mouth out with soap, that bird.
There's a bit of a
strange... I guess I suspected.
I think as you guys are sort of, not necessarily arguing, but sort of back and forth of like, well, did you do this? No, it was Ivor. Well, would Ivor do something like this? He's an old bird. Well, old birds can get anything. They get out of all sorts of trouble. While this is happening, the camera moves through the room, out through the window, and down into the darkness of the village of Shallot. And we find a rather distressed-looking Ceridwen searching through the brush over here. You have just finished searching the various birdhouses and through the bush here for Emir, but nowhere to be found.
Young Master Emir, please, can you come out now? This isn't funny anymore.
Nothing. No one responds. You realise that there's no one to be seen, actually. The village is quite quiet for evening. Normally, folks are visiting each other, or there's, lights in houses, but all the houses are dark right now, even the huts.
I pluck up all my courage and I go to try to chap on the doors of some of the wee huts. But I imagine there's no response.
You sort of like tick, 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 tick with like one of your back claws, and there's no response, and it's dark inside.
Oh dear, okay. Well, Ceridwen, we can find him. We can find the young master, and we will go back to Mate Edna, and we will say we found your son, and it will be totally fine. We're going to find him now. We don't.
You fly around. Where would you like to look next? You've searched the entirety of Shallot Island, and he's nowhere. He's not in the castle. He's not on the island.
At this point, I think I'm just going to have to go back to Mate Edna and say, I cannot find your son. Because my mind has gone to the absolute worst. So I'm like, this is cause for extreme alarm. Like, it's true that this is maybe in character for Emir. It's not wildly out of character.
Mm-hmm.
But every time he vanishes, I panic. So I'm going to go back to the castle to panic in front of Mate Edna.
As you go back to the castle and to the growing crowd of beasts in front of it, you do notice that a black and white blur zip past in the corner of your vision in the night, just outside of torch vision. But think nothing of it and go back to Edna. You kind of flap over and round the crowd to the kind of corridor of the castle, and find Edna is kind of behind Laird Duff and Mate Gwen and the guard, and is kind of talking with Griselda, who is hang on, I'm not quite, what is she again? I made a note. She's an otter, and she's sort of behind, she's kind of come out of one of the lower chambers, and is a poultice pounder, and they're kind of worriedly talking. You kind of approach, and you kind of overhear like the last of what they were talking about, and Edna's saying, "Oh, well, they're angrier than they've ever been before. This is so unusual. I mean, the tithe isn't too high, and normally they're so reasonable. I don't know why they're so angry." And Griselda says, "Oh, well, there's been all sorts of well, I'm not sure either. I just know that for some reason the hares and the mice just don't come to me for help anymore. They used to come in for anything, from a scrape to a cough, but now they just don't come by, and they give me the weirdest of looks when I go through the village." so strange. And then you fly over, and they both kind of turn, and Edna says, "Oh, have you found Amir? I haven't seen him anywhere. It's been hours."
Mate, Edna, I am so sorry. I cannot find. I'm in absolute near tears.
Mm-hmm.
I cannot find him anywhere. I've looked high and I've looked low. I've looked everywhere at least 5 times. I don't know where he is.
And Edna sort of not rolls her eyes in an annoyed way, but just sort of, don't worry, he's around here somewhere. I do need you to go fetch him. Have you tried the stump? Have you tried the tower? Have you tried?
Yes, mate, Edna. I've tried the stump. I've tried the tower. I've tried the little notch under the stairs where he likes to wedge himself. I cannot see him anywhere. Maybe we should send out. We should send out a battalion of the guards to look for him.
Well, I don't think we've got a battalion there. And she sort of gestures behind her to the crowd and to Lord Clare. Those are the guard. And they're currently busy. Why don't you... she kind of counts over the guard and says, there's one of them missing. Because Barkley is in my room, and why don't you go look for that new one? I'm sure that they can help you search. They're not here. Probably on some order from Gwen. Tell them I sent you to go look for Amir. I want him inside the house now.
Yes, absolutely. I will go do that.
Okay, good. And she kind of turns back to Griselda and some of the other animals that are kind of in the corridor.
I immediately, I'm at, so if he's not on the ground floor, he must be upstairs guarding one of the other rooms. So off I go. I shoot up.
Mm-hmm.
I'm getting very tired by this point because I'm like, I'm shooting everywhere.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to mark that as something bad. You're just feeling a little bit exhausted and anxious. Mm-hmm. So you shoot up the stairs, and I think you find Oswald and Ozier just like not arguing it, but as I said, sort of like that heatedly talking of like, well, it's not stolen. I didn't steal it. Maybe it's yours. Maybe you stole it. And you kind of walk in on them, or flap in on them.
I'm sorry, Professor Ozier. Can I interrupt for just one moment? Oswald, you're needed downstairs, please.
For what?
We need to go and look for the young master.
Okay, yes, on it, no problem. I'm a guard. You, chicken, don't touch my stuff. Okay, and he goes.
Your stuff. I thought that was still under. Are you sure you want to be like talking to this alleged guard? Like, they seem to be doing a lot of very unguard-like stuff. I've just found them, and they're casting aspersions on Ivor, although I suppose some of it does hold water. I mean, he has been very obstructive, so maybe. But
what do you mean? What do you mean?
They were, and I give Oswald like a look. Like, do you want me to say this? Is this like kind of trying to say like I could ruin things for you just now, or not?
This is like kind of eyes darting between you.
Mm-hmm.
And the little bat, and he's just like, oh no, this is not good. He's just like, come on, we don't have time for this. You have to go help the child. Think of the children. Out there all alone by himself. He should be so scared. It's dark, and like
he must be terrified.
Oh, terrified, the bird dear.
Oswald is really like ramping my anxiety up.
Mm-hmm.
And Oja is kind of like, oh, but my notes. None of you understand how painful this is. I suppose a child is perhaps more important. Okay, yeah, I'll put aside my. I suppose it's probably more important that you deal with this. Okay.
After Oja mentions their notes, Caradwyn does like have a little glance over at the table and does like a double take, and has a moment of, why is it so messy in here?
You just cleaned this.
With the same amount of like fear and panic in his voice as the child is missing.
Yeah, you get it? Yeah, it's terrible. And this has been, I even tidy. This is better than it was. It's been a day. But yeah, I suppose if there is a child missing, then yes, I suppose that probably takes precedent. Just for now.
So you make your way down the stairs, past the crowd. You get a few dirty looks from some of the animals for walking around them. And some of them follow after you for a few steps while going back to the crowd, curious about what you're doing. You notice that some of the animals, Ozia, you don't necessarily, you have a general recognition of people in the village if you've, met them before, or at least seen them. There are some animals that you don't recognize. Some other mice, a couple of hedgehogs, that sort of thing. You walk further, and I'm going to say you three split up, and you search outside of the island. You search both banks, and eventually you notice a bit of a warm glint coming from the bank over here, so I'm going to mark it. And you go over across the bridge, and you find Amir. Amir has a small bullseye lamp and is scraping at the riverbank, and is covered in mud and sand and dust, and has a shovel that was very small and has since broken, and is just sort of like curiously digging at the ground and then looking back at the book that he has next to him, and then at the ground again.
Oh, I love him. Master Amir, you're filthy!
And Amir sort of like fur goes up, turns around, and goes, "Oh, sorry." And then seems to kind of realize that it's very late. And Amir says, "I was looking for iron." And sort of lifts up the book, which is now equally covered in mud, but has a very vague illustration of iron ore in like rocks.
Master Amir, if you're going to leave the castle, please tell someone so that someone can accompany you. I have been looking everywhere for you. It's okay, but we're going to get you inside and we're going to give you a bath, and then you'll be clean.
And as you kind of like gather up kind of Amir's things and start to like pat him down, you look across the riverbank and see that slight glimmer of white and black again. Oswald, there's that magpie that you saw, or at least thought you saw. It swoops down, and you hear a squeak. A very sharp and short squeak, even from across the riverbank. And then silence and a thud. Over here on the island. So there was a squeak over here on the opposite bank, and then a thud on the island. And then the black shadow of the magpie disappears.
Caradwyn is too preoccupied with Amir to notice any of this. But if Osier or if Osier or Oswald is like looking at this, he'll stop and like try to look over where they're looking as well.
Yeah. Osier was trying to like take the book, couldn't keep the book out of the mud. Like that's priority number one. But then like saw the movement and like something about it was like, oh, that was a thing. That squeak was something to pay attention to, and they kind of have instinctively gone very still, and they're like looking at it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Oswald's just staring on curiously, like, is that like a magpie taxi service or something?
You sniff the air, and I think Oswald, you're the only one who would have the sense for this. But you pause and you listen. You don't hear more squeaking. And you sniff, and then suddenly, oh, you smell blood. The breeze is coming through this way, kind of across the island, so you're downwind, and you smell the sharp tang of blood.
Uh-oh.
What is it?
I don't mean to alarm anyone, but there's a strong sense of blood coming on the wind. I think there might have been an attack of some sort.
Blood.
Yeah.
I
Grief.
put my wings over Amir's ears.
I clutch the book to my chest.
You try to put your wings over Amir's ears, but you can't reach.
Oh. I'm like just holding like wrapped around him at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, it's my job to go check it out, I guess. Come on then, let's go. Together. Best stay in a group, right?
I
suppose so.
Come on, think about if there's been an attack. That'd be really interesting for the books and stuff. And then so much to clean.
I'd rather clean it after it happens, not during.
Don't be scared.
Oh well, now I'm not scared at all of the squeaking sounds in the night and then the smell of blood. That's solved it.
I'm still
I
scared.
think
You don't
as
have
you
to be
guys have
scared.
been talking,
Okay.
the crowd, you see some lights peel off from them and start to make their way back. A few torches, and they start to wander towards the other end of the island.
Oh, okay. Well, the guards are coming back now, so let's go over there and get the young master back inside.
Okay, don't worry. I have a knife. It pulls out his big knife.
Under his breath, Amir says, "Cool."
It is cool. Do you want to hold it?
Don't let
Yeah.
them.
And he sort of holds his paws out.
No. It's very dangerous.
It's not dangerous, and he spins it in his hand.
I feel like you know how to use your knife, so nothing bad would happen, but it would be the prime opportunity for something bad to happen. So as you guys make your way towards the bridge, you spot an animal, a mouse, running back to the main group. I keep drawing in purple, I don't know why. I'm trying to draw in orange. Oh well. Running back to the main crowd, and then suddenly voices starting getting raised and there's yelling. You also notice, kind of against the blue of the river and the silhouette of the moon and the slight light, the magpie over here fly out of this tree next to the castle and away out into the night.
No.
Did you say meh?
Yes.
I really think we should be getting the young master home now.
We're going just slowly. He's got his sword like out in front of him, just like march into the noise.
So you guys go onto the bridge, and this is when you start to actually hear what's being said. One word that is being used repeatedly is claw lickers. You see over here this group of animals. They are crowded round, and their lights are shining on the body of a dead shrew.
No.
And over here, you see that the crowd around Lord Clare and the guards are getting feisty. They are yelling. They are, being like, "Oh, you never want to protect us. You never stopped hunting. Murderers. There's someone dead in the village. This is all your fault. You want to keep us safe." Someone starts throwing stones. The guards start pushing the crowd back. You see Lord Clare is trying to calm them down, but is being shouted over.
How are we going to get past them?
Oh my, perhaps we could, I mean, we both seem very light, perhaps I could Flight? I'm not sure I could fly you up. Oh no.
And you guys... No, because the little cat. I mean, I know what can fix everything. Every problem that anyone ever has, crowds and such, can easily be parted by a very large knife. So I'm just going to move it side to side.
I'm really not.
Adding a knife to the situation.
They all seem
People
very
respect
upset.
people with large knives.
I'm really not sure that they seem very upset.
You're frightening the young master.
Nah, he loves it.
Yeah, he does love it.
I think he's too focused on the sword knife. You haven't. Did you take it back from him? No, you were spinning it in your hands.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's sort of like trying to mimic the motion with his paws. He's picked up a stick.
Yeah. Ozier's kind of trying to stand like so that he's like his wings just sort of shield the kitten from seeing towards the dead body, because that seems probably not something that a young kitten should be looking at. So he's kind of trying to sort of discreetly cordon that off a little bit.
Am I quite big compared to these people? I'm not huge, but am I bigger than the wee mice in that?
You're bigger than the mice for sure. Animals are the same size in Beast Fables as they are in real life. So
Okay.
you are bigger than a mouse. You are roughly on the same size as this kitten. It's maybe 6 or 7 months old in terms of size, which for a cat could be quite big. And the cat is much bigger than the bat, and a little bit bigger than the, not heron, bittern.
Bittern, yeah.
Okay. Oh, I know! You
Yes?
just smell cheese. Bad cheese.
Oh my.
And he tries to use it to part everyone by stink.
Are you emitting stink?
Yeah, I'm amazing. I'm going to use my thing, my trait. Stinky when stressed.
Oh gosh. So you start to go towards the crowd stinking of cheese. And as you get closer, you feel, not literal, but like the emotional heat radiating off of them. It only makes your anxiety spike. In fact, I think with animals, when there's a lot of them stressed in one area, their hormones can really like bounce off of each other. And it smells angry in the air. You notice that some of the mice in the back are sort of like talking to each other as opposed to the crowd, and they're sort of like pointing at like scribble on the ground that they've done, and they sort of look up when they see you, and they give you a really nasty look. Like the minute they see you, and they sort of poke towards like a hare that's next to them, who turns around and then also scowls at you, and you've just got a massive knife out at the back of this crowd. I'm just going to put a little letter in for you.
I smell like cheese and have a knife.
And they start muttering to each other, which you can't really hear above the din of the crowd. But one of them spits on the ground.
Are you really sure this is the best way to go? I mean, I try and kind of I like naturally hunker in right down into like the most round heron shape that I can, but I kind of try and straighten up a bit and go, we don't want any trouble. We're just headed back to the castle. Like if you just let us through.
Yeah, just chill out. We've got nothing to do with this. We're just bringing the baby back. Little baby, so cute. Everyone chill out for 5 minutes.
And they sort of like look at each other and nod. And it does take some shoving, but you do get through the crowd. Yeah. It feels almost too easy. They let you through, and Lord Clare gives you three the strangest look before Emir trails behind, and he sort of pauses in trying to assuage like a hedgehog's concerns before turning to a sparrow and then getting distracted by a different animal. And the other guards are like trying to calm folk down as well. You manage to get past them as well, and you make it back into the castle.
Oh, thank goodness.
Oh, that's the wrong map. Daylight. Everything is on. Is right. Yeah, there we go. So you are in the main hall now. The other beasts are nowhere to be seen. Edna and Griselda and the other animals have gone inside. Not sure where. Where do you want to take Amir?
Straight to the Claire suite.
Mm-hmm. So Amir kind of goes up the spiral staircase, just by memory. He lives here. You go up to the Claire suite and you see, sort of in the hallway, Edna is pacing. She suddenly is relieved when she sees Amir and says, "Oh, you're so dirty. How did you get so dirty? You were gone for an hour. Oh, gosh. Right, you, in the room, bath, now." And Amir's like, "Oh, okay. I was looking for iron. I don't care what you were looking for. Oh, filthy thing. Gosh." And she sort of like instinctively starts like licking at her paw to like get smudges out of his like cheeks and get the worst off of his face. He kind of trails into the room. And Edna kind of beckons you three over. Says, "Where did you find him?"
Mate, Edna, he was out by the lake. He was digging up dirt with his paws. I'm so sorry I didn't spot him before.
Ugh, little rascal. Whatever he was up to. I'm not feeling good about what's going on outside. We've never had a crowd of folk angry like this before. And she kind of gestures you over to the window, and you look down at the group of animals. And you see that there's sort of like a heaving of the crowd as they start pushing back at the guards. There's like 10 or so different animals kind of like yelling, and a couple are throwing stones. And there are others at the back of the crowd going back into huts with lanterns. And coming back with various farming tools.
Looks like you might have a riot on your hands.
At this, Edna turns around and says, a riot? No, we've always taken care of everyone here. What? No. If there's going to be a riot, you need to go down there and sort it out.
Me?
Yes, you're a guard. Employed by us.
He just like gives a look.
To who?
Her. He's like, "Am I though?"
Yes, is he though?
You were hired by... And she kind of like closes her eyes and taps their head. "Gwen, you were hired by Gwen. Apparently. You... And then she kind of turns to you, Ceridwen, and says, "Advise me. This isn't good, is it?"
There was mention of a body.
And she sort of like, her eyes widen. A what?
I'm not quite sure what happened, but we were engaged with the young master, but no, I don't think it is good.
And at this, she turns into her rooms, where Emma is, and says, kind of over her shoulder, "Right, you're taking Emir out of the castle, through the back way, somewhere safe. Just, his aunt is a few miles up the road. It'll be no more than a day by paw. This is serious adult business, and I don't want him around this." And she starts like looking around at the room. "Oh, and there was a thief in here earlier. Oh, this is just too much." And she starts like trying to pack a bag for him.
Lady Edna, I really don't think that that's something you should entrust to me. Much more suited for Oswald here.
Yes, I mean, I certainly, I'm not sure that this is really any of my business. either I should probably get to my notes and make sure that they're safe as well if there's going to be any trouble.
I'm very
And Oswald, what are you doing?
He's just standing with his knife, like, I will take good care of your child.
Mm-hmm. And Edna kind of turns and says, well, I meant Oswald, but you two can carry on. You can go with them as well. To be honest, you know Amir, and Amir knows you. I wouldn't want Amir to be with a complete stranger. You should go with them too. And you're right, Ozia. I've only known you a few weeks. You should go take care of your notes.
Right. Ozia kind of hesitates though and looks at like child and goes like clearly weighing up like small child papers. Which is should he really leave a small child with a tiny bat and this ferret with a giant knife who he knows is a thief? And kind of, you know what? I'll be right back. I can take my papers and come out with you. And he basically bolts back to grab everything he can and kind of come back.
Mm-hmm.
I need to
run down. Oh yeah, go ahead.
I need to grab some supplies as well.
Yes. And she kind of like absent-mindedly is like, do you need any keys? I don't know if you've been shown everywhere.
No, it's fine. I know they haven't got in. I'll also grab some food for the trip.
Yes, that's sensible. Don't take too much. There's not enough left, really, for the winter. We're probably going to have to eke it out. Just enough for the journey. I'm sure that my sister can feed you all when you arrive. I need to write a note for you, 3. And she sort of goes to her desk and starts, like, she dips one of her foreclaws in ink and starts scribbling on a piece of paper.
I think Caradwin is going to entirely entrust gathering the supplies to this guard, even though he doesn't entirely trust him. He's the guard, right? Like, maybe just a slightly untrustworthy guard. So Caradwin is going to go and make sure Amir is going to like pack a little bag of clothes.
Mm-hmm. So you're packing with Amir. We'll go with Ozia. You go into the library. What are you grabbing?
All of the notes that he can carry. Definitely like just grabbing everything off like stacks like indiscriminately in a little bit of a panic. And he also pauses because wasn't all the stuff that Osmond stole still there?
I think so.
And then I think he's gonna like pause and look at that and go, if it was valuable enough to stash, then yeah, and he scoops that up as well.
So you scoop up as much as you can, which is like a couple, like some jewelry, like a nice goblet. You kind of all scoop it into the robe, and then sort of like hop over one shoulder and have it sort of like pinned under your wing, and try to like waddle as fast as you can, as a bird can, back up to the 3rd floor. Oswald, you run down to go grab some food. So you go to the kitchen. The cook is nowhere to be seen.
Are there biscuits?
You've eaten them all.
Shit. He will just go into the cupboards and grab things he thinks a child would like. It's like going to shops and just buying sweets and crisps for children, because that's what they eat, right?
Yeah, they only consume like processed sugar and salt and Fanta. Like that's what kids want. Yeah. So, you kind of go through. You grab what do cats eat? You grab like a slab of salmon that's been dried and smoked, that's kept in a salt bucket, and you sort of dust off some of the salt crystals, and you what else they like? You just grab what you would want. You're like, if I'd eat it, a kid would eat it. And you grab mostly meat. And then, do you grab anything else?
He wants to go to the library and get that stuff.
You go up to the library and your stuff is gone, except for like a goblet.
Oh. He grabs the goblet and he's like, "That little chicken." And he'll make his way back upstairs. Does he see sorry, I've forgotten your character's name. Letty.
Osher.
Does he see Osher?
So I think this is the scale of events that happen. You get to the top of the staircase as a rock, not a pebble, but like a fair-sized rock, sails through one of the windows and smashes it. Osier is on the other side, so if Oswald, you're here, then Osier, you're sort of like in the corridor. Oh, you both have Oz names.
Yeah.
Yeah, Osier's in the corridor, and Edna comes out and says, "What was that?" And sort of goes over, "They smashed a window. Those are very hard to replace. Oh, what is it? And she kind of goes and looks out and kind of stammers. She goes, and turns back to you three and say, "You need to go now. Now."
Can we look out the window quickly?
The animals are fighting the guards. Like, it's gone from like pushing and shoving to full on, like the guards have been backed into the corridor. You notice that some of the animals with torches are sidling around the edges of the castle.
Oh, better get going.
Yep, time to go, I think.
Young Master Amir, come, just very, very quickly now. Just like hustling the wee kitten out of the room. We hustled him into the castle, we're gonna hustle him out now.
Okay. So you hustle Amir from the second floor down to the first floor. As you get down to the first floor, you hear sounds of barging and shouting from the main hall.
Do I see Oz? God, sorry, I'm so bad at names.
It's alright. Osher.
Osier,
Yeah.
holding my stuff.
Yeah, he's not being coy about it. He was just like, "This is probably going to be useful. Just grab this."
Do you want me to carry that for you? Looks amazing.
Oh, yes, thank you.
You sort of like, your beak was getting sore from like having it clamped. You kind of put it down, glonk, and there's just like a cup rolls out, a bangle, like
He's just like over his shoulder.
Scoop, 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 pick up. You now have both the food and the goods. You hear hissing, like a from the main hall.
Caradwyn is terrified, to put it mildly.
Osher kind of pokes their head out into the main hall to try and see what that is.
No, be careful.
You go down the stairs one at a time and then poke your head out of the hall. These doors here are open, and some of the guards are around the door and kind of like poking back at beasts with farm tools who are trying, like, pitchforks, and they're sort of like kind of jabbing at each other. And you see that Gwen is batting at mice with torches in the other doorway.
Oh dear. Okay, the main doors are not an option, it looks like. And I guess Osher will kind of motion to go out through the cloakroom door behind, if that works.
Do you want to follow?
Yeah, Caradwyn is like very deliberately not looking at whatever's going on, just focused on like hurrying the kitten along. So wherever the other two are moving, he's following.
Cool.
Okay. You go into the cloakroom and hear sounds of rattling and clattering. from the dairy.
Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear.
They're on the way out. Oh no. Yeah, I guess we'll kind of poke my head in again and try very cautiously to see what's going on in there.
You poke your head
I'll
into the
probably
dairy,
go back
which is quiet, and well, not quiet, it's dark. There are various cloths hanging from the ceiling where cheeses are sort of like dripping their way into bowls below, and you see that this door leading out of the castle, like a side entrance, is shut, but is something is trying to kick it down.
Oh no.
Is this the only way out, or like the only feasible way out right now?
No, we can go up the way. I know there's a way out over here. I'm going to lead them out. I feel like there would be a little delivery door in the kitchen. But I don't see one on the map, so I don't want to say that there is one for sure.
So, I think it's windows. There is a wooden hatch that can be opened. Here.
Yeah, so from the cellar, would there be a delivery bit?
Oh, I see what you mean. Yes, there would be one. It comes out. I'm going to make it with the purple box. Let's say it's here.
Okay.
Cool.
We're going to go into the cellar and pop out the other side.
Great.
Sounds great.
Yeah, let's go.
So you go back into the main hall, and you notice that Gwen is being pushed further and further back. Some of the mice with torches have gone into the room. One of them has actually started setting fire to a tapestry.
Oh no, that tapestry had real historical value. Oh no. Oh, that's awful.
I'm going to count this as something bad happening. Smoke is starting to fill the room, and other animals are coming in. One of the guards is clutching at their stomach at the left-hand door because they've been stabbed.
I came here at the wrong time.
Yeah, I think I did too.
Hurry, let's run now.
Yep, running.
I've got my sword ready. If any of those little son of a guns come near me, I'm gonna slice them.
You hear some of the smaller creatures cry out, "Down with clawlickers! Down with terrors!" And charge forward, and they start to overwhelm the guards on the left as you run through to the kitchen. You see that the kitchen, which you thought was previously empty, behind the door is carrying the old badger cook.
No!
Huh?
What's her name?
Her name is Ulster.
Ulster?
Ulster.
Ulster. Miss Ulster, are you all right?
Oh, there's lots of loud noises, and they said that they've been saying mean words. I'm just gonna stay here. It's gonna be nice and quiet soon. I'll make some biscuits. We'll be fine.
I think you should leave, actually. I think you should come with us out the cellar.
Mm-hmm.
Come on.
Oh,
get out.
I don't know if my old bones can do the stairs down there. I normally get youngins in and out for me.
Oswald will go over to her and put his hands out as take my hands.
Oh.
You help guide her down the stairs, but it takes time. You have to kind of heave. It takes two of you to actually heave the big, heavy trapdoor open, and then you have to kind of slowly get her in and guide her down, and Emir as well. This is a third bad thing. At this point, the remaining guards have been pushed into the center of the room, and there is just outright fighting. You hear vicious curse words and yells from Gwen, who is fighting, and there's a thud against the wall as something is thrown against it.
I was going to do it out loud, but I decided to say it instead. Caradwin screams.
Okay.
Sheriff flinches very badly at that. More at the scream than at the initial thud.
you scream. You actually like fall backwards a little bit into the cellar. The cellar here, let's say this is the port that goes out. It's like the far hollow here, and it doesn't have a ladder. It's for rolling barrels down, like for a pub. So there is an old matronly badger, a young kitten. It's not a big space. How do you want to try and get everyone out through it?
I think.
Sorry,
you go for it.
Is there any barrels or anything like that we can push underneath it to make little steps?
Yes, that's gonna be a scurry roll for me.
Oh, I will try. Is it just Is it D10 now?
So that's a D10. It's a D10.
Woo!
Nice.
You do better than expected. I'm gonna say that as you're shifting barrels, you actually find like a barge hook. Like it's a long stick with a hook on it that's good for like manipulating doors and stuff. And you're actually able to unlock the trap door using that by moving like the wooden bar that keeps it secure in place against the weather.
Nice.
And that, with the barrels, helps kind of get people up and create a vague sort of like clamberable surface for folk to get out. You are now out at the back of the castle. You see there are animals, beasts, going into the gardens with torches. And actually, I think it's time that we move to the larger map now.
Uh-oh.
So, if you folk are this blue circle, then there are animals moving into the garden at the end at this bridge here. And you see torches around the corner here as well, trying to get into the dairy.
What do I have on me? What are my tags? So one of my talents is keeping quiet.
Mm-hmm.
And also echolocation. So since it's quite dark now, would I be able to use my echolocation to whatever it is that bats have? Not echolocation. Is it echolocation?
Yeah, it's like
Yeah. I was like, wait, is that dolphins?
Well, it's also echolocation with dolphins as well, but they do it underwater. You could be a dolphin. We don't know.
In disguise. Could I try to find a path where there are no people, so a path to the bridge using my echolocation?
Mm-hmm. Yes, that's going to be a scurry roll for me.
Yes. That is...
We're going to go with the first roll there, which is a 7. Because you did... Oh, yes, you did. You tagged. You tagged. You have advantage. Sorry.
I did, yes.
Wrong against my own rules. But if we're going to use the first dice roll anyway, which is a 7, which is success, I'm going to say that you're actually able to guide the party a little bit closer to the bridge. And you're able to do it by walking mostly in the darkest places where the light of their torches isn't heard. Now, the animals that you saw going into the garden are now in the garden. And you hear general sounds of distress coming from the back of the house here. Like, no, don't go in there. No, don't touch that. And, hey, leave me alone. It sounds like the Griselda, the otter you met before.
Well, we can't help everybody, right?
Well, but I mean, to really just leave them. Oh.
Are they close by enough to just run over?
You could run into the garden to see what was going on if you wanted to.
Ah, curse this kind heart of mine, and he's gonna run.
You run into the garden, and you see that some of the animals are just picking, unripe vegetables off of the plants in the garden by torchlight. Some of them are trampling over herb garden beds. and you see that a couple are at the doorway into the castle, or the still room that would be in that part of the building, except Griselda is there, and they have pitchforks leveled at her.
He's gonna come over with his knife.
You go over with your knife, and some of the beasts there turn towards you. One of them is let me look at my list of animals. One of them is a beaver, who has like a scythe for cutting like grass. And the beaver kind of turns around and goes, "Ah! Another claw licker! Get it!" And and sweeps the scythe out at you. What do you do?
I do the weird thing that ferrets do when they kind of dance around.
You sort of bounce back and forth. That's gonna be a scurry roll for me.
Okay, is that just a D10?
Yes. Are you tagging anything?
I don't have ferret dance as a thing.
Okay, with a 4, you are successful. You jump around and over the blade. What do you want to do from here? You're sort of like on the outside of the group. Do you want to try and get through to Griselda? What's your goal here?
He's just gonna go, "Hey, you lot, listen here."
Well,
They sort of are paying attention, but also like, ah.
While he's doing that, can Ozure kind of try and sort of skirt around and motion to Griselda to get out and get in the river if needs be, like just get away from them.
You hop onto the wall that separates the garden and the path, and you sort of like hop around to Griselda. I want you to make a scurry roll for me to not be noticed.
Okay. Oh, could I tag my camouflage in this one, seeing as it's...
Yes, you could.
Cool.
It is natural environment.
Yes. So that's
2d10.
2d10.
That is a 10. That is a critical success. You shuffle through some of the brush and some of the undisturbed herb garden. You smell very strongly of thyme now. You poke your head out from the brush near the steps up to Griselda's still room. You say, "Get out of here!" And then Griselda kind of turns bewilderedly. She sort of like hushedly says back to you, "No, I can't leave. All of my supplies are in here. It took me months to get these together. They can't. This is unreasonable."
Yes, it's a very unreasonable situation. I agree, but you need to get out. It's worse in there. They will not. They're not bluffing. Get out.
Make a scurry roll to try and convince her.
Okay, I don't think I have anything for that. I'm not very good at people. Yeah, no.
5. You do as well as you can, and by your own words, you're not very good at people. Griselda says, let me grab my bag, and she sort of darts into the castle.
I saved you. You're going back inside.
Now that she's gone, some of the voles with essentially like lit matches run into the castle.
Oh well. Are any of the ones still listening to me or like facing me or anything?
They are paying. There are like the bigger ones. Like there's a hare and a beaver that are paying attention to you.
So I get it. You're pissed, right? You're wanting to like fucking disassemble the establishment for messing you over about the summer and stuff, about the food and all that.
You hunt us. You murder us. You eat us. Clawlickers are vile. You've killed someone in the village. You're all to blame for what's going on here. The hare kind of like tries to poke you.
Hey, whoa! Don't just poke a guy. You know, jeez, I just came here to rob the place. So do what you want, really. But I'm just saying, don't hurt. People have been stabbed and that. Just go in and grab what you want and leave. Easy.
There's so many different directions to that sentence. I feel like make a scurry roll for me to try and like elicit Thievery? Robbery?
Was that a D12?
No, a D10.
Oh! 8. Go, my children. Steal. Rob. Join my guild.
Oh, wait, did you roll?
Yeah, I rolled an 8.
Yeah, I didn't see. So, you rolled an 8, you're successful. You sort of like, it doesn't matter, just steal. Don't pay attention to me. And they go like, what's better off without you? Vermin, and they spit at your feet as they back towards the door that Griselda went into.
It's pronounced ermine.
And they glare at you and go into the castle. What do you guys do?
Caradwin did not follow them into the garden, but did, with his large ears, overhear the whole thing. Are you guys still in the garden? Are you coming back out?
Yeah, I'll come back out.
Yeah, I think we're coming back out.
Did you say you came to rob us?
What?
No. I tried to tell you. You were too hung up on finding this child, but I did try and say.
Well, Professor Osier, I'm very sorry for not hearing you say that, but I do think that protecting a child has slight more importance.
Hey, listen. The place is being burnt down and destroyed. We're just salvaging this stuff, if anything.
I think as you say, like, being burnt down, smoke starts to come out of one of the windows on one of the upper floors.
See, this was the best time for me to come. I'm saving
the library.
The castle.
The library. Oh no. Osier kind of deflates and kind of becomes a clump of feathers on the ground.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. I think at this point there's like the doors of the other side of the castle clatter open, and there's like a two-way flow. Griselda runs out clutching a bag to her chest and sort of like waddles over in your direction, and animals flow into the castle who were outside being held off by the cats. You're now close to the garden, in darkness. Griselda runs over and says, "What's the plan now? I've got my supplies. We need to go. Where are we going?"
We just gotta disappear into the forest.
Well, we do have a destination, yes. Mate Edna said we have to go to see her sister, I believe. Can we go now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry
Dejectedly,
about your books.
you start
There
to
are so many
go
books.
over the bridge and start to cross over to this point. You notice that most of the beasts are clumped on the island. You see that the castle is on fire. I'm going to say, because a few of you have keen ears, you hear more than see the rustling of trees, or a rustle in the trees here. And peek a familiar streak of white hiding in the trees.
I'm gonna charge out with my knife.
You run towards the tree, knife out, and the magpie jumps out of the tree and launches towards you with its claws out. I want you to make a scurry roll for me.
He's like, you stupid thing, you can say you. He's like, oh god! 9.
That's a 9. What do you want to do?
He's like, I've dealt with birds before, how do you think I got these scars? And he's gonna cut
So
me
you
off.
swing with the knife.
Yeah.
You trade blows. The magpie claws you with its like right claw, and you manage to kind of like catch it with your knife as a slash, blunted somewhat by its thick feathers. I'm going to say that counts as a bad thing. The scurry die has shrunk to a d8.
Whoops.
The magpie flies past you, wheels in the air, and then swoops down at Amir.
What
do you guys do?
I instantly like put my wings over, try and kind of shield as much as possible.
Mm-hmm.
I think Caradwin actually, like, by instinct takes off and like jumps backwards to get away from the danger, much to his embarrassment, because he's meant to be taking care of this little lord.
So you jump back underneath one of the trees, while Ozier, you shelter Emir as best you can with your feathers, but that leaves you directly open to attack. The magpie scratches one of your wings. That counts as something bad happening.
Oh no, ouch.
There's like a sting of pain in like your left wing, and Emir is just shaking with fear, just like wide-eyed, just the glinting of like cat's eyes in night, but trying to be as small as possible underneath your wings. I'm gonna say that Griselda like tries to swing with her bag of supplies and just misses entirely. Yeah.
Oswald, he's going to throw his knife to the side and go onto the floor into a pouncing position and sort of like curl up. And he's going to wait for the bird to come close so he can jump up and bite it.
Nice.
Okay. That's going to be a scurry roll for me.
I'm going to bite you.
Ooh, so that is a complication. Would you like to bite the bird, or would you like to miss?
I want to bite the birds. He doesn't like birds.
You leap up, and you manage to entangle yourself with the bird, with the magpie. You sink your fangs in, spin in the air, and you both whack. You hit your head against a rock, and the world goes white with stars. The magpie is flapping around, and temporarily dazed on the ground. That does count as something bad happening. But you brought it to the ground.
He's just like stumbling around like...
You're kind of spitting like feathers out of your mouth.
You notice that when he fights, he's a little bit feral. And he's just like, I'm gonna eat it. And like his teeth are just like bearing out, and like I'm looking up right now. The ferrets are really aggressive to birds, so he's just gonna go for it, just like I'm gonna get ya.
Okay, that's gonna be another scurry roll for me.
Munch, munch, munch.
I'm gonna munch. I'm gonna crunch.
I'm gonna eat your little beak.
I think the bad thing that happens here, you kill the magpie.
Oh my god.
I don't know who this guy was, but
you leap forward, and with sort of a feral fury, you just like argh, and you manage to just crunch the neck. There's a squawk of "No, that plan!" Dead. You sort of like shake it in your head, and this is where the bad thing comes in. You see the beasts who are over near the dairy have looked over from like the sounds of fighting and said, "Clawlickers, murder! They do want to kill us! Knew it!"
I just want to kill birds.
What do you
I'm
guys
sure
do?
Ozier is really pleased to be in this.
Yeah, Osier's extremely alarmed and just kind of huddled in a big feathery mound around the kitten.
I think at this, Emir, seeing like the magpie just killed in front of him, is actually going to try and run away from you.
Whoops.
Caradwin's gonna like, having been just like paralyzed with fear, is gonna jump after Emir. Young master, no! Please come back.
I think you're close enough that you sort of just like land on his back and then sort of like are riding him.
Yeah. Well, I do have a tiny body as one of my traits.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just like, I'm clutching him, pleading with him to go back to where it's safe, which is, not safe, safer.
Ozier, what are you doing?
Eyeing Oswald with extreme alarm, as they kind of absorb what just happened, and then they take off running after Emir and Caradwin.
You take off running, And I think for drama's sake, you leave behind the food and the supplies, the stolen
That makes
things.
sense. Yeah.
I would say that Griselda and the old badger Ulster are also going to run after you, being like, "Wait, don't leave us behind!" Oswald, what do? You're sort of like straddling a dead magpie.
He's gonna try tear off its foot.
Oh my god.
It's what?
His foot. Magpie's claws.
You gnaw and gnaw at the bone. You hear other beasts moving over the bridge now.
So I get the foot.
Make a scurry roll for me.
Okay.
Do you want to get the foot, or would you give up on it? That's the choice. And then what will happen next?
I'll give up on the foot.
Okay, you kind of gnaw and are now like covered in like blood and bits of feather, and you look up to see that animals at the other side of the bridge,
Okay.
and they're yelling like "Murderer, claw licker, farming," and they're starting to run towards you. What do you want to do?
He's gonna run, grab his knife, and be like, "Why are you playing with these magpies? They're assholes!" And he's gonna run off.
Okay, so do you run off with the other people, or do you run in your own direction?
He will kind of. Oh, he doesn't want to lead them to the baby. He'll run wide of them and try keep an ear out for where they're going, but not be too close.
And do you take any food or any supplies? Not supplies. I keep calling supplies. Stolen things, shiny things.
Oh, okay, my shiny things. Food is not important.
You grab your shiny things, jangling in the robe, and run off in the opposite direction. That's going to be a final scurry roll from you to see if you can basically evade them.
My things! Two!
Oh my gosh.
Okay. You trip over branches, you scrape yourself on rocks, you fall into muddy puddles, the robe is ruined, you maybe drop one of the bangles, the die shrinks to a d6. You manage to eventually lose them, and unfortunately yourself in the dark woods around the Isle of Shallot.
That hurts.
So I think this, as you flee from the burning castle of Shallot, is where we're going to end today's scurry. And we're going to have a little bit of an epilogue. So with the die at a d6, you end the scurry tired. It was a marathon, but you survived. So I would say that the Griselda and Ulster, Osier, Emir, and Ceridwen, you, after hiking throughout the night, managed first of all to calm Emir down, who was mostly running away from Oswald. Managed to calm Emir down and then guide Emir down the road and towards Edna's sister, who lives a day away on foot. And you arrive hungry and tired to find that there's news of other riots happening that have been happening from the south up. There was the burning of Holdall. There was now the sacking of the Clare Castle. And there are several other towns and villages where so-spoken vegetarian animals, in a term that we would use, like animals that don't eat meat, are fighting and ousting animals that do, whether they actually hunt or not. Moving for Oswald, in your epilogue, tired, you have a load of treasure in your sack, but you find yourself in a closing net. It's difficult to escape the south of the bristly woods with your prize without being pursued by other beasts being blamed a claw licker. You do manage to make it to Crossing Lock, where you're able to steal a boat and row out to safety, but very much with your tail between your legs. And you have survived just about, but you guys have survived the adventure.
Yay!
Oh, so that was interesting.
That was fun.
Yeah.
Did we mess anything up for the main storyline?
I would like to personally attack Balthazar.
Oh my God. I think that'll be a fun encounter. I definitely think there are some interesting routes. I don't know if the others are going to watch this, but I'm imagining that it'd be fun for like the main crew, Balthazar the Toad, to just run into Oswald, and Oswald's like, "Oh, do you want to buy some cups?"
May I offer you a cup in this trying time?
Yeah. I very interested that none of the notes made out of the castle. I didn't expect Ozier to really kind of quiz the villagers about like the drought. I think maybe Ozier could be putting together some information and be an informant maybe for the main party.
Oh, cool,
very interested to see what happens from here. But now you are sort of stuck in the south of the map as spreading. I wouldn't say purge is the wrong word, but sort of a riot is starting. A fire is spreading against claw lickers, which is going to be interesting. We'll go from there. But yeah, I think we should reintroduce ourselves to close off the session. I have been Brian. I've been your narrator. It has been a fun 2 episodes of this little interlude. I run Dungeons on a Dime. I wrote the game that we play. I drew the maps. It's all cool, fun stuff. I have been joined today by the admirable Leo and Letty and Eve. And because we love reverse order and surprises, Leo, do you want to reintroduce yourself first?
Oh no. Hi, I'm Leo. I go by Cruve online. I use they, he pronouns, and I played Oswald Fleetfoot, the worst ferret.
Mm-hmm.
Or best.
Or best. Just
Yeah.
depends. I was actually googling what pets should not be next to each other, and it's birds and ferrets. So
Perfect.
sorry about the chaos, but also it was fun.
The chaos is the best. You really helped. I didn't think when you said you wanted to be a bounty hunter or like kind of a fighter character that you can be like, I want to rob this place. That
Yeah.
definitely added some lovely space. Next up, we have Letty.
Yeah, I'm Letty. I go by Toadlet on most social media. That's with 2 T's at the end, as in Letty. And yeah, I have been Ozier, who is now an extremely nervous bird. But yeah, he did his best.
Mm-hmm. Good for the story, bad for the nerves.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And as always, last but not least, we have got Eve.
Yes, I was Eve. My pronouns are they, he. You can find me on Twitter at Eve G. Wood. And I played Caradwyn, and I now have a headache from that voice I was doing, where I was like, why have I got such a sore head? It's because I'm going like, yeah, that's me.
Well, it is the middle of summer for us in Scotland, so everyone should be staying hydrated.
Mm-hmm.
And we will see you in the next episode of Beast Fables. But that's all for now. We'll see you soon.
Bye.
Bye.